Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to From the Ashes Shorts. Today, we are going into part 3 of our tier list of the Star Trek factions. And with me today is Zhombi. How you doing, Zhombi?
Undead.
Undead. Well, you could say he's pretty much barren bones by now. But also with us to join us as another co-host would be our dear friend Raven. Raven, how are you, bud?
I'm here.
You're here? You're not there?
Yes. I'm not there. No, I'm here.
Where?
Because if I was there, I'd be there, not here.
Where?
There.
Who?
Here?
You. Wait, what?
What? When?
Remind me of a man. Sorry, whenever I heard that last part, I was like, anyways. So we're back doing the tier lists, and so far, we have got our first 2 episodes underway, and we've got 3 more, including this one. And to tell us where we are on our tier list so far, how about we have Mr. Bones himself tell us? Bones.
Okay. So, from what I remember, starting at the top, S tier, we have the Klingon Empire, all by themselves in S tier.
Correct.
We have in A tier, we have, and I don't know if it's I'm sleep addled, but wow, yeah, my brain isn't braining right now.
You do know I'm live with the tier list post-it, right?
All I see is what you're streaming is the page that says 23rd century, 24th century, talking about the Syndicate.
Oh, wait a minute. It pulled up the wrong side. All right. So to save time, I'll go ahead and read off the tier list. And let me get that switched around. But so basically in S tier, we have the hold on, the Klingons, like we talked about. After that, we have the Borg in A tier and the Romulans right behind them. In the B tier, we have the Ferengi. And then in the C tier, we have the Gorn, and then we have the Undine, or species 8472 right behind them. And there is no one in D tier as of right now. So that being said, you guys can see the page now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. That messed up. So, all right. So kicking us off then, we're going to talk first about the Orion Syndicate. And what better way to pick on Raven is to let him start it off?
Why me? What did I do to you?
Because, well, I mean, Zhombi agreed to do, the recap, which, because of me, I screwed that up. So,
oh, jeez.
So, I'm cutting him some slack.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. The Orion Syndicate. We don't really know much about them. Really, we don't get any information about too much about them until Lower Decks. At least from what I remember. They were mentioned in TOS. They were mentioned, I think they were mentioned in DS9. Other than that, really, we don't get a whole lot of information about them, like I said, until Lower Decks. We don't really know. I mean, for military, we know that they can have the different factions have quite the military. Mainly because they battle against each other all the time. I mean, they're basically pirates. They're space pirates.
Right.
There was a song about that. What? Who did that? Was that Steve Miller Band? Yeah, I think it was. Anyway.
I don't know that song. I have to look it up.
Oh yeah, Space Pirates. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Steve Miller Band. It's actually a pretty decent song. Anyway, that's off in the weeds. Technology wise, they're pretty well from what I gather from from various sources, they are relatively equal with like the Federation, the Romulans, the Klingons, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Motives are straight up they're space pirates. I mean, we know this. So their motive is ill-gotten booty.
In more than one way. Mm-hmm.
In more than one way, yes. Mm-hmm. Anyway, adaptability and territory, though, we don't know really a whole lot. We don't know how much territory they hold, and we don't really know how well they adapt. I mean, I guess you could argue that they adapt pretty well because being space pirates, they have to adapt to the situation to be able to, get their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, we don't really know much.
Right.
So military technology and motive scored relatively high for me. The others scored very low. Again, even though we only have little snippets of information about them, so that's my take on it.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, I'll go ahead and I'll go next. They are included. Excuse me. Overall, within 14 episodes of Star Trek throughout every series.
Really?
Whether they're talked about or whether they are actually included in it. From what I know, they were in 2 episodes of Enterprise. They were in 2 episodes of TOS. They were in 1 episode of the animated series. They were in 5 episodes of DS9. And they were in 4 episodes of Lower Decks. And to be fair, one of the main characters is, Orion, right? So
they were also in 1 or 2 episodes of Prodigy.
Oh, were they? It hasn't even. That don't have that listed on here. They've also been. So anytime you've heard of the Orion Syndicate, they're either in those episodes or in a couple different novels. One of the novels' names are Demons of Air and Darkness, as well as A Time to Heal and A Time to Kill. Time to Kill? That sounds like James Bond. Oh, never mind. And they're also featured in Star Trek The Lost Era and Well of Souls. So that's what we've got from the Orion Syndicate. And I was just and of course they're in STO, Star Trek Online. They were featured in Star Trek Starfleet Command Orion Pirates video game. So, they are out there. But the thing is I was talking to Zhombi earlier before we all got in here, like all of us together. And I was like, do you know what I remember about the Orion Syndicate the most? It is the slave girl from the original TOS episode.
Of course you do.
That's it. That's really it.
And let's be honest, any male, any guy who's been into Star Trek at all and has watched the original series at all, that is every male's,
Yeah. I mean, come on. Like, would you sit there and talk about Kirk sleeping with that green girl, and whatnot? I mean, it's just, it is what it is with that, but, so to try to, explain, I agree with you on their motive. They are pirates, they're just, gonna go out there, do their thing and get their booty any way they can. Their adaptability is they have to be adaptable a little bit to be able to get the upper hand on their prey, basically. And I wish that they'd come out with a Captain Jack Sparrow version of an Orion Syndicate member. That would be amazing. I'm just saying. But like, I've got a Jack Sparrow.
You look somewhat familiar. Have I phasered you before?
See him riding on a little dinghy.
Right. He'll come into view on top of a shuttlecraft in an EVA suit. Yeah.
Barely, like, yeah, that's oh my gosh, that's freaking hilarious. But their territory, I don't think their territory's big, mainly because they may have a home world and this and that. I'm sure they do, but they're pirates, so they stick to the ship and the open road, basically, open seas or the sky or the stars, whatever you want to say. So I believe their territory is not very big, or it's just the whole universe. I mean, which is big, but I kind of contradicted myself there, but hey, I'm gonna go with what they own as territory, and I feel like it's fairly small. Their military might and technology, they have to be pretty good to be able to take over some starships out there. So I would say their military might's fairly good. So that ranked fairly high with me. Territory low, like I said. Technology, again, as they pirate other ships, I'm sure they adapt with their with the other people's technology, try to reverse engineer some of it and whatnot. So I feel like the technology and adaptability would be fairly high, just kind of like what you said. And their motive is clearly, would rank high. But let's put it this way though. In my own personal opinion, they're dicks. So that pushes them down for me. And because of that, you'll see where I rank them later. Because I just it's just like one of those But anyways, that's all I got to say about them. What about you, Zombie?
So I rated them for territory really low because like you said, we either don't have enough information or it's they don't really have much. For military might, I rated them low as well because I was looking at it as okay, well, if you're a pirate, you're going to choose vessels of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be strategic and tactical about it rather than swooping in with a large fleet. You're going to rely on smaller, quicker craft to come in, catch your opponent off guard, and neutralize their ship before they have a chance to react. Like pirates would.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be strategic and tactical about it, because coming in with a big, massive fleet isn't subtle. They come in with quick, small, light craft, neutralize the vessel, get on board, and get what they need.
Right.
Add their technology is mid, because I kind of figured like all their technology and stuff was stolen. It's all stolen stuff. They steal a vessel, they take the device, or they reverse engineer it. So they're relying on stolen vessels and technology to increase their technology abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Which to me, if that's what they're relying on, made their adaptability fairly low. Because yes, they're strategic and tactical about things, which is good. But if you're relying solely on stealing blueprints, plans, devices, whatever, then you're not really adaptable yourself. You're letting somebody else do the work and you're just stealing it.
Right.
But for motive, I had them about mid, because, I mean, again, you can count on them to do what they do. They're pirates. They're not going to change.
And they do get that cool factor, being pirates.
Yeah.
I'll give them that much.
Yeah, and they're not like a small group that, it's like, oh, well, let's just go wipe them out.
Right.
They're clearly big enough or secretive enough that you can't.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you could go wipe out an outpost, which I'd imagine would happen from time to time. But it's like, okay, well, you wiped out this one cell. Whoop-de-doo.
Right.
You've got 80 more scattered across this system.
It's like modern day terrorists.
Yeah.
They have various cells. Yeah.
So.
Well, okay, so Zombie, where would you rank them?
So I rated them as overall as a C, just because the military might and territory really brought down their overall rank.
Mm-hmm. All right, Raven.
I actually am in agreement. I rated them as a C. In my case, though, while technology, military, and motive were I mean, they were relatively high. Territory and adaptability for me pulled them down. So, but I'm sitting right at a solid C here.
All right. As for me, as much as I talked about it, I think they're actually lower because, in all honesty, like we don't know a lot about them. So to me, that brings them down even more. They're mysterious, yes, but also they're pirates or modern day terrorists. Their military might, all that stuff is all well and good, but to me, I would either give them a like C minus 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 or a D. Like that would be me. And to be honest, with 2 C's and a D, that basically brings them to a C minus or so. So I think we're in agreement to put them like low NC.
I would agree.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would not argue with that.
Okay. There you go. Orion Syndicate is bottom of the barrel for our tier list, but not bottom of the barrel enough to be D. So, all right. Well, that
Barely
brings,
squeaked out of it.
yeah, that brings us to the Breen. Okay. And, Zombie, I'm going to let you go ahead and talk about the Breen a little bit. I'm sure we don't have much to say, but we can talk.
So, in my research, like you said, I couldn't find a whole lot, and I didn't really want to go down the rabbit hole and watch everything. And again, so I just did, some research, and what I could find is that their military and territory were fairly decent.
Mm-hmm.
They had a fairly strong military. Granted, it's not like the strongest there was. So, their military wasn't like way up there, but it was decent enough to, pose a threat. And their territory was decent sized as well,
Right.
based off of the map that I found.
Mm-hmm.
And their technology was fairly decent as well. I mean, again, it was their technology that gave them that edge militarily.
Right.
Um, uh, but I gave them a lower rank for their adaptability because, again, not much is known about them.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how well they adapt to a changing situation. And their motive, I just kind of gave a mid because, again, we don't know a lot about them to be able to. It's like, well, what do they want?
Right.
We don't know.
I mean, they're walking refrigerators.
Yes, but I mean, beyond that,
Yeah, I agree. Like, there's not much about them, but so yeah, we'll go into more of that and more with are you done with what you were talking about?
yes,
Okay, so Raven, go ahead.
I would agree that from what we do know, again, as has already been said, we don't know much, but from what we do know, their military is very strong and they are ruthless fighters. I would almost put them on the level of ruthlessness with Klingons.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we do know that their military is very strong. I'm going to skip over territory. Technology is ahead, actually, of I think most factions in the universe,
Mm-hmm.
because that's kind of all they do. From what we know,
Right.
adaptability we don't really know anything about. We don't know how well they adapt in battle. We know that they're ruthless. We know that pretty much anybody that has come across the Breen have all gone, oh crap. But we don't know how adaptable they are to situations. We don't really know how they structure their attacks. We don't know how well they, think things through, things like that.
Mhm.
Motives, we don't really know anything about, other than the fact that they are territorial. They are, from what I understand and from what I remember, they are very xenophobic, and they're very territorial. Really, the only times we've ever really seen the Breen, at least from what I recall, was Deep Space Nine. They joined the Dominion.
Right.
And then there was a few things here and there scattered throughout the rest of the universe. I want to say the Breen showed up in Lower Decks a
Didn't they show
couple
up
of
in
times.
Discovery?
I think they might have, yeah, actually, and that was the other thing too. Is I think they showed up in Discovery for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Pretty sure
Other
they
than
did.
that, though, yeah, other than that, they're talked about, but we don't actually see them on screen.
Mm-hmm.
So their territory, yeah, like Zhombi said, it's relatively large. They will hold on to it. I don't know how much they try to push out to expand their territory, but I do know that they will fight ruthlessly to keep what they have.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Well, mine's going to be short and sweet because, to be honest, they've mentioned so little and whatnot, and they're not really relevant to most of, Star Trek for the most part, minus what you said, Raven. And yeah, so their military might to me and territory, if you have a lot of territory, your military might must be fairly nice, especially like you said, since they're extremely feared, and we may not know them, but they're known, they're known. So it's, people fear them, and for rightfully so. They I guess they'd have to have pretty good technology. Um, I don't know much about their adaptability because, we don't really know them. And, their motives are another thing. So, I like, so I know I'm just sitting here like, oh, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. But to be fair, I, I don't know. The only thing you could go on is like personal opinion in my opinion, or personal accounts and stuff like that. So, when they were on DS9, yes, they did join the Dominion, and you know that made a little ridiculously tougher. But so you've got all of that aside, and then you have everything that Zombie and Raven said, and it's like, to me, what you have to go off of is accounts, basically, mostly, and they are feared, so that's their reputation. So, and reputation's pretty good, so that actually scored points for me. So, but yeah, that's to be honest, that's pretty much all I got on that. So let's go. Raven, where'd you rate them?
I rated them as a D.
And Zombie?
I had them as a B.
Ooh.
Wow.
Well, just
Okay.
because their military and territory were decent, that everything
Yeah.
was about mid. So I'm at C's and B's for most everything. So for them,
Yeah. So
Wow. Okay.
I actually had them rated as a C, and I gave them that much because of their I wouldn't say respect, the fear that people have for them. So yeah. So where would we put that? Like, are we gonna
Well,
go? Go ahead.
I mean, I was gonna say the B and the C kind of pull it up out of the D for us. So I would say I guess it would really depend on where in the B and C tiers you guys rated them.
I rated them. Well, I mean, obviously for me, they'd be above the Ryan Syndicate, but not above, uh, you know, that any further. Species 8472 is above them for me, so fairly
Mhm.
low in C.
I had them as just like a solid B.
So with
Well,
that,
that
should we put them maybe C in between the Breen, not Breen. Uh, we are the Breen.
No, that's
Between we are the Borg. No, between the Gorn and the Undine. I don't know.
I could agree with that. I could agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. C's getting crowded, man. So there you go. So we got the Breen and C right next to the, a nice, tasty Gorn. I'm sure they, taste like chicken. But I don't know where that came from.
They are space alligators, and alligator does taste like chicken, so
tastes like fishy
I'll
chicken.
give you that.
Yeah, it does. So, all right. So there we go. We got the Breen in their new home at the C tier. I would have ranked them lower had it not been for the fear that a lot of people have for them. So there's just a lot of unknown about them. So, all right. And that leads us to our last one, and that's the Nausicaans. And Zhombi, I'm going to head back to you and let you talk about what you want to talk about.
Okay. So for the Nausicaans, I think we know even less about them than we do the Breen.
Mm-hmm.
So I had both their territory, military might fairly low. Yeah, I mean, we know they're strong fighters, but like we don't know like how strong is their military. Just because individually they're good at fighting, doesn't mean that they have ships and a standing military. I'm sure they do. Wherever their homeworld is, I'm sure they have a standing military, but we don't.
Yeah.
We don't know.
They look cool.
Yeah, so I had their technology slightly higher. I think I was just mainly because they're good fighters, so I would think that their technology would be decent. But again, to what scale, don't know.
Yeah.
Their adaptability, I had them as again fairly low, just because again, there's not a lot known. Did they just rely on the brute force method, just beat something with a stick? Who knows?
Right.
I kind of have the feeling that's what their attack would be, but I could be wrong. And their motive was about mid because they're typically seen as mercenaries, swords for hire. So you kind of know what you're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I got to say about that.
All right. Well, Raven, what about you, bud?
So the Nausicaans. Yeah, I agree. We don't really know much about them, like at all. They've only really kind of appeared in a few episodes, and I've lost my notes.
Yeah.
Here we are. Okay. I agree. Military ranks very low for me. Territory ranks very low for me. We don't really know much about those. The only thing we really know about the military is that they're strong.
Mm.
We've already said that. Technology, again, very low. We don't really know. Adaptability, we don't really know. Motive, we don't really know. They all scored very low for me because we don't know.
Right.
So
that's all you got.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for me, I'm gonna make this short and quick, sweet. Yeah, it's the same for me. Like we don't know a lot about the Nausicaans. They're more prominent because aren't they a playable character or something like that in STO? I can't remember if they are or not. If we just
they're not a playable in STO.
I know they're in there. They're also talked about more in like the video game Star Trek Elite Forces 2, which I loved. I love the Elite Force series. It's two good games. I wish they'd remake those. But because mainly they had all the original, like Voyager was the first game, and they had all the original cast part of it, and then the Next Generation was the second game, and they literally had most of the cast in there. So it was really a lot of fun. But other than that, I really don't have much to say about these guys. And matter of fact, I feel like I'm not even going to go into what you guys went into because you just literally said it. For me, they're a D. That's all I got.
Same thing. They're a D for me.
I had them as a very low C.
Well, that pulls them to a D, I would assume then.
I'm fine with that too.
All right, so there we go. We have our tier list for today, and as you guys know, it should be popping up if you're watching the YouTube channel, and you should be able to see it right now. But good episode, guys. We got 2 more left, and I'm excited to see where we place the last 4 on our list, and you guys will see that soon enough. But until then, I appreciate you guys being here. I want to thank Raven and Zhombi for being here. And if you guys want to know more about From the Ashes, there should be a link in the description below. Check it out. Other than that, you guys have a great week and live long and prosper.